Hi guys, I hope you're doing well. Thank you for joining me for a new podcast episode. So, my name is Christelle. You know me under Tricot et Stitch, which is the name of my Etsy shop and Ravelry shop, and it's been my username for I think like the past 10 years now in the knitting community. So thank you so much if you're a returning viewer. Thank you for being with me today again. And if you are new to the podcast, well, thank you very much for joining me. I hope you will enjoy this episode and you will spend a good time. So this is the podcast about knitting and yarn dyeing. So I have things to show you. All the yarn I'm showing you is in my Etsy shop. I usually update the yarn once a week. It's been a fortnight because sometimes I've spoken about that in previous episodes, but you have some very big ups and downs sometimes when you work for yourself. And obviously also when you, well, everyone has those ups and downs, but I must say that being self-employed, it's like more intense. So there was a big down for the past fortnight, but here I am again, up again, okay? So that's what's important. So I went to I didn't went to the hairdresser. The hairdresser came at my home, and I'm really happy because I was feeling a bit shaggy. So everything is just nice again, and that's perfect. Yeah. I had some sequences that I cut when I, edit the podcast, where I was literally fighting with my bangs like, so that's okay now. So yeah, the past weeks have been super hard, and I mean, obviously I want to talk about Black Lives Matter because it's really, really, really important, and that's not something I want to avoid. It's a subject that is very, very important and should be to everyone. So I won't, spend time talking about me and how I feel, and because, I mean, that's not important. I will rather talk about actions, and I have two things I want to share with you on that. First is that if you're white and you feel some unease about Black Lives Matter or talking about systemic racism, if you're feeling unease or shame or any, very negative emotion, well, you should really, really continue the work, because that's actually a good sign, and you should really consider that if you're feeling that, you're doing the right thing. So it's just a message from me to encourage you continuing learning and listening, even though you don't feel well. It's normal. It's that you're doing what you should be doing, and what you're discovering now, if you are discovering things now about how Black people are treated, what life is when you are Black, especially in the United States. If that's making you feel very uncomfortable, and well, you're on the right way. Just do not let those feelings deter you from continuing listening and learning. That's very, very important, because obviously, if you let that feeling of discomfort and, well, discourage you from continuing your learning process, and I mean, all hope is lost, okay? Because if we white people do not do that, white or white passing, because you know whiteness comes with privileges, white passing, even if you're not, even if you're mixed race, which I am, but that it doesn't show, you have the same privileges, almost the same privileges as a white person, and you need to take leverage on that to fight systemic racism. It's absolutely crucial. So you might think, but this is about knitting. You've just said it's about knitting and it's about yarn dyeing. Why are you, talking about Black Lives Matter? Well, because, if you want to do some anti-racism work and do and feel that you are doing some anti-racism work, I mean, you have to do it all the time. You cannot say you allot some time in your week to spend 20 minutes or so doing some anti-racism work. It has to be all the time. It has to be a way of life, a way of life. Because systemic racism, there was an analogy that was very good to white people. Systemic racism is like water for the fish. You don't even know it exists. And I cannot help myself but think about the Matrix each time. I mean, it's like you're in the Matrix and you don't even know it, okay? And when you start to, well, show some empathy and some interest and try to learn and try to understand the life of the Black people and what they endure all the time without a respite. Being attacked at home, being attacked when they're on the street. I mean, for the life of me, I just would be sick to my stomach if I was to dread being killed just in my sleep. Or, I mean, how could we live with such pressure and such stress all the time? And they're doing that all the time. There's no break, never, no break. So it must be the same with anti-racism. It must be threaded in your life, day in, day out, always. So there is no such thing as just knitting or just yarn or just cross stitching or just, no, it should be always. Okay. And the other thing I want to address right now, because I strongly believe, and I mean, Black Lives Matter, there is no discussion, there is no answering me, but all lives matter. They have not said only Black Lives Matter, okay? Nobody said that. I didn't say that, only Black Lives Matter. Of course, all lives matter. But logically, if Black lives don't matter, all life don't matter. Because Black lives are part of all lives. And for the time being, in the United States and in a lot of countries, white countries with colonialist past, Black lives do not matter as much as white lives. That's a fact. Okay, that's not up for discussion. That's a fact. So again, strong analogies. A house is on fire. Okay, the neighborhood gather. We call the firefighters and say, okay, please help. That house is on fire. We need some help to put out the fire. And then the neighbor is like, but what about my house? Hey, your house is not on fire. Your house is perfectly fine. Yes, but all houses matter, okay? We should, take care of all houses. Yes, but your house is not on fire. So, of course, all houses matter. And if your house gets on fire, we will be there to help. But for the time being, we need to help that house, which is going to burn down. So, okay, that's clearer. Another analogy. if someone has a broken leg, you want to take them to the emergency, you want to take care of them, you want to heal them. And if someone comes across and say, okay, why are you helping that guy with a broken leg? What about my legs? What about mine? But his are not broken, okay? So it doesn't need immediate medical attention. So that's the thing with Black Lives Matter. It's exactly the same thing. Black Lives Matter because right now, and I mean, just not right now, Black lives have been at risk and have been really without similar worth for like centuries. I mean, you know? So that's why it's really important to promote Black Lives Matter, to donate if you can, to listen, to accept the discomfort, and to be anti-racist. And one last thing I want to address. You cannot say you're colorblind, because being colorblind means that you don't recognize there is a difference in life experience and everyday experiences between you white people and a black person or a person of color. So it means basically that you don't want to talk about it, okay? You don't want to hear them saying Black Lives Matter. You don't want to hear them crying their hurt and their pain and all that. It means that you are giving them the cold shoulder and you just don't want to bother. So being colorblind stems from good intentions, because in an ideal world, color should not be an issue and we should all be treated the same. But since we're not, it's really important not to say that you're colorblind, that you recognize that we have differences in skin tones that led to huge differences in how people are treated. So that was what I thought was important to share. I will, of course, be very present in the comments. I will block people if you are coming to me with all life matters or things like that, because I mean, I've taken the time to explain, and if you still don't want to do the work by yourself and, you know, dig in and start unlearning all the things that we've been growing with since we were kids, well, I hope you will be doing the work. That's all. I really hope. Because those are very dark times. And to me, we are like such dark times. And in my heart, I hope that we are going to a period of more, you know, humanity. And I truly hope that one day we will all be colorblind, and that one day everybody will have exactly the same treatment. But it's not the case right now. So we just have to be anti-injustice, anti-racism, anti all those things. Okay. Okay, so what I did, if you're wondering where to start, I've been there. Okay, I've been there. There are a lot of good reading recommendations that you can start from. What I did is that on my Instagram profile, there is a story highlight with what I thought would be good starting points to start educating yourself or further your education. One thing that's really important to know is don't ask Black people to coach you, to help you. There is a wealth of available sources you can access very easily. So you can go into my stories. It will stay there. It will not move. I will enrich it with the time, and there is really a lot of things. There is a lot of accounts you can follow. There is a lot of things. So There is book recommendation. There are book recommendations. There are great Instagram accounts that you can follow. There are pieces of advice on how to, start doing the work. And but one thing is, don't go into people of colors, Black people, direct messages or things like that, because really that's not appropriate. Really, don't do that. And respect their spaces. Do not go into their comments with open questions. And if you have a question, ask a white person that's like woke, okay? Do not ask a Black person. And really try to find the answers by yourself. I mean, if you're starting reading some things, you will very soon have the answers. Myself, I've started with what, fragility. Robin, I don't remember the name of the author, I'm sorry, I will put it there. And it was really, eye-opening, okay, on a lot of things. So, okay, and yeah, it was eye-opening. And as I said, I'm mixed race, and I'm married to a Black man. I have mixed race children, and it was eye-opening for me. So it makes me really, want to be the kind of mother my kids won't be ashamed of when they are grown-ups. And I really want to, do the work for them to have a better world to live in when they're grown-ups. Okay. So life over the past 2 weeks has been quite a challenge. Yeah, it was difficult because, I mean, as a human being, so much injustice and violence is really hard to take in, and I'm not even Black, so okay. I needed a lot. I had a hard time homeschooling. I mean, homeschooling is something I'm good at when I'm feeling good, but the saying, you cannot pour from an empty cup, and I guess I was pretty empty. So it's been a nightmare again, especially with always the same one, with Constant. Okay, it's been like, we had a major crisis when it wouldn't work. He was like completely, like this, and didn't want to do anything. And I was like, okay, that cannot go on. You don't want to work, okay, but you are going to sit on that chair, and you are not going to do anything apart sitting on that chair for the time that is dedicated to work, and until you are ready to do some work. And he was like, I mean, that guy, he's really a strong head. And I was so pissed off. I mean, I had it. No patience left. And so he stayed on that chair, like, playing in his head, I think, full of resources, that kid. And at some point, I was like, no, I'm not going to let him, like, doing nothing. No, okay? So I gave him a book about writing, in attaché. So it's not the bold capital letters, it's the handwriting thing. Something he has always said he didn't want to do, he did not know how to do it. There was really something blocking him. And I thought it was because he had the fear of failing or things like that. So I was pretty accommodating. I was like, okay, darling, just wait until you're ready, and no pressure. And well, enough with that, okay? Huge pressure. You do it now. Okay, so didn't say a word. Okay, I didn't hear him say a word. And like 2 minutes later, he was done. And he knew how to do it perfectly, okay? I have 4 kids. He's my 3rd one. You would think that I had some like motherly intuition about like bullshit. like that. No, no, he had me completely, completely. I've been spending the last 2 months like being such a good mommy, saying, okay, no pressure, no, I don't want you to rush, I don't want you to rush it if you're not feeling ready, and basically the guy was like perfectly fine with it, just didn't want to do it because lazy. And yeah, 2 minutes stop was done. And from now on, I mean, it's okay to write in handwriting, and I was like, oh my god, I mean, I fell for this. I completely fell for this. He's 6, okay? So one other good thing is you might have, if you are watching the podcast, if you have been watching the podcast for some time, you might have remarked that I went from completely freaked out to you cool down, okay? Not a problem. Even if it doesn't work, not a problem. Like back to completely freaked out, and again, and now I'm cooling down. I mean, it should be the other way around, like cooling down, freaked out. But anyway, I'm cooling down again because I had a lovely chat with a friend of mine who is teaching kids just after kindergarten, and she told me, okay, you just remove pressure, because if your kid knows how to take the pen like this and not like is wanted to kill a vampire, if he doesn't take his pen like this but like this, and if he knows the name of the letters, it's perfectly fine. Bonus point if he knows what sound the letters actually make, like B is for B, and that's every teacher's dream. But even if he's not on top of that, it's not a problem. You can just help him by listening dog barkings, cats meowing, sounds for him to, train his ears. But that's it, basically. If he knows that, he's ready to learn to read and count and write. And by gosh, he's okay with that. So Constant is fine with that, no problem. I mean, it's more an attitude problem with him, like he doesn't want to do the work. Well, to do some work. Okay, so that was what I wanted to share about that week. So that was a lot of knitting. I finished a project. So if you were, getting used to seeing the same project for the like 8 past episodes, I'm sorry. There is one that is going to go away. Okay. So did I want to tell you something else about life in general? It's already 22 minutes. No, I think that's it. The next subjects will be for... Do I have anything else? Oh, yeah. See, that was something I wanted to share with you. Again, if you've been watching the podcast, like in the second podcast or third podcast, I told you I had some, design collaboration coming. I was really excited about that. I sent proposals to and didn't work out, and I had to rework, and I'm experiencing. I've been in denial, but I've been experiencing for like several weeks now the equivalent of the writer's block, design-wise. So I'm able to talk to you guys through the podcast. So that's a real, good moment for me to be with you each week or every other week sometime. I've been able to dye, I've been able to come with new colors, I've been able to do a lot of things really. I've really been able to do a lot of things despite being in lockdown, and afterwards keeping the kids at home and homeschooling and everything. I've been able to do a lot of things. One thing I am now accepting that I cannot do in that situation is designing. That is, I don't know why, but there's something about free space for my mind. I don't have that. I don't have enough time. I don't have enough time alone to just be thinking about new designs. My head is always overwhelmed with what I have to do and things I have to do, things that need immediate attention and things well, it doesn't work. So I am confident that it's just a phase and it's going to be back when when kids go back to school, actually. So I should be able to start designing again, like sometimes in September. In September, everything goes smoothly. I'm okay with that. I mean, I had a hard time recognizing it. I just kept pushing, things design related to the next week or next day. I was procrastinating a lot. And a few weeks ago, I had a talk with a very good friend of mine who said, listen, it's not a problem if you cannot design right now, but you have to let your partners know. You have to let them know. You have to just send them an email saying them, okay, I'm very sorry, but I can't do that right now. And I did that. It took me like 3 weeks to be able to write that, but I did that. And they were completely understanding and told me that there was no pressure, that as soon as inspiration came back, so they were lovely. So I want to thank them very much for their understanding, and I know it will come back. It's not a problem. It's just, I mean, there was to be some casualties, right, for being locked down all day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, with 4 kids and a husband. I mean, there was to be some secondary effects or something. Okay, so that's it. You get it. That's what it did me. I just can't design anymore. But I can knit, and I'm very happy to have some space now to knit other designers' things. So I'm going to show you what I did. I did some cast on June 1st. I didn't do it on purpose, but I don't know why. I cast on a lot of things on June 1st. Okay, so project. So I wanted to show you very quickly my whatever sweater, which is growing, growing and growing. You see, I had my little Halloweeny vibe here, and now it's over. I think we're back in some maybe fall themed choice of color. And what I really love about that, it's really, I think it's really my color universe. There is some neon in there, obviously, because I am a huge neon fan, but not only because I love fall colors. I love browns and reds and burgundies and greens, and so it shows here as well. And I think the color I'm less into, and for which I have less natural appeal, is blue, but I still love blue as well. So I think I really love all colors, and I think it shows here. Well, as far as blue is concerned, what I like is more the very aqua tones like this. I think it's going to be awesome. So this is growing. It's been growing a lot. So with you remember I hosted a Cal for the Jimmy show, and we had a weekly Zoom session. And because the little group is very, very cool, the girls are awesome, we decided to keep the rhythm and continue like seeing and talking each other every Saturday at 5 p.m. Paris time. And it's so cool. So we decided to knit together the Love Knot sweater by Tinka Knits. And we are going to start, I think, next week, which is my birthday, on June 16th. So that will be my, present to myself. I'm going to cast on for the Love Knot sweater. But here comes the challenge. I want to be finished with that one. I don't know if it's possible because I have a bazillion of projects going on at the time, but I want to be finished with that one. So even if I had a very long first part of the podcast, I think I will be quite, a bit more quick about the rest of the podcast, because it's Sunday morning, it's like 11 something, and I still have the French version to shoot, and then we're off to the countryside in Normandy to spend the day with my parents and my sisters for the first time since the lockdown started. So I really wanted to spend that time with you, because otherwise it would be pushed back 1 week more, and that is not possible. I wanted to, talk to you guys before that. So So I want to speed that up and, power knit it and be done by next week. I'm going to take him to Normandy today, so there will be a lot of car knitting. Okay, so I really love that project. Okay, again, it's Whatever Sweater by Julie Dubreux. That's Julie Knits in Paris. Not in any specific order, I wanted to show you my cross-stitching project. So, hey, progress, right? So that's the huge penguin, and he has a lovely knitted hat and a scarf. And I love how the black, the darker shades of the pines below or behind the igloo is giving the impression of depth in that cross-stitch bubble. And that's why I love Ashley and Amanda so much. I mean, there is such attention to little details in all the patterns, and it's really a delight to cross-stitch. I love it. So I've been doing that a lot, watching not Aurora Tea Garden this time, because what I did is that I introduced my daughter and my sons and my husband, everybody, to Agatha Resin, the series, the BBC series, and my daughter is loving it. So we have a new cross-stitch compatible TV series, which is very cool, because we've watched all the Aurora Tea Garden there is, and I mean we are rewatching. Sometimes we've been watching the same one for the 4th time, so it's getting a bit boring. So now we have a whole season to watch like 3-4 times about Agatha Resin, because as we are cross-stitching while watching it, we're not paying so much attention. So I have no problem watching it again and again and again. I mean, I like the atmosphere, the Cotswolds. It's lovely. Agatha makes me laugh very much. I prefer the character in the books, obviously, because it's so fun. Okay, but the series is fine. I mean, it's a really easy watching. Yeah, easy watching. I cast on for a design that I designed before the lockdown, okay, for a sock. So for the first time, I won't tell you any details about it. It will be out in September, so you will know everything about it in September. So what I did is I cast it on June 1st, because for the first time, I asked the help of a sample knitter. So I don't have the sock with me, and the sample knitter has already knitted it. I have not seen any photo for the time being, so it's just in my head, and I wanted to have my own to show you when it's out, so that I can show you pictures as well. So I've started knitting on it, and it's gorgeous. I'm very happy. So more on that in September, okay? But know that I have this secret project I'm working on, and that might explain why some other things might take some time to be done, okay? Another thing I've cast on, yeah, that was huge, cast on frenzy. It's the Mondim sock by Andrea Mori. So I'm using my yarn. Actually, I had a little yarn dyeing incident last time. I dyed yarn, and I don't know why, because maybe the pots were not clean, or I don't know what happened. But in the same dyeing session, I had a lot of accidents. And that was an accident, and I had to keep the skin to myself, unfortunately. Oh, so sad. So I cast on with, you might remember the main color for Jimmy, Extravaganza. And I had to take with me that lovely bowl of neon coral, because there was some, I don't know why, some slight, you know, here, very slight dark blue smudges, like not much, I mean really not much, but you know, I'm really, I have high standards on quality, and I could not sell that, so I kept it to myself. So that's the Mondim socks by Andrea Mori. I'm going to give it a try because I am not big on doing some patterning on the sole of the feet. So Andrea, okay, I'll try, even though I think it might not be very comfortable. What do you think? I thought that it wasn't only jersey, well, stockinette for the feet of the soles, but the heel, I want to try that heel. It's gorgeous. Okay, and the best thing about this, I mean, there is a lot of, you know, she might have been criticized because she's donating until the end of the year all the proceeds from the sale of this pattern to Black Lives Matters. But some people came up and said, okay, it's very nice of you, but aren't you promoting your brand while doing so, and, you know, taking advantage of the cause, just to, you know, piggybacking on a cause to get some awareness and notoriety, while, well, like it's only performative eyelashes or something like that. So it might, I don't know, I don't have the answer, but I know that she is giving away the whole $7 for each pattern bought to Black Lives Matters, and she has already donated for May like $3,000. So, well, then it's up to you really what you think is best. But if you want to donate in a way that is also something that, you know, well, I thought it was a good idea myself. Okay, so I did that. What you could do is buy that and, you know, knit it with yarn from black dyers. Black, if you have access to some yarn by Black Indie Dyers, or if you want to support Black women and Black owned business, that's a possibility too, and I think that's what she recommends. So I strongly encourage you to do that. It could be really, you know, good things to do. Okay, so that's the Mondim sock by Andrea Mori, and I'm really liking it. It's a nice ribbed sock with just something a bit, you know, making it very interesting. And I will give you what I think about that. I'm very not sure. We'll see. We'll see once it's worn. Because she has another pattern like this that was published in Len, and again, I thought about that. I wasn't sure, so I'll give it a try. Another thing I cast on was the I don't remember the name, Wanderer something by Stephen West. Westfjord Wanderer. I mean, that is a huge piece by Stephen West, and it's gorgeous. And I'm knitting it only with leftovers. So that's the start of it, and I love it because it's a modular construction. So you're knitting basically only you're knitting it little pot by little pots, and it's really great to mix your colors. So I'm so happy to knit some Stephen West. I love his designs. So I never had the time because I was always, you know, designing, and now that I have to take a break, actually I'm very happy because I love his design so much. So that's the Westfield Wanderer, the start of it. I'm using a whole bunch of, you know, yarn. like Tricot stitch yarns. So that's the big, yeah, so that's leftovers, that's sometimes full skeins, that's bonkers. I don't know if I should, you know, knit it with like only full skeins so that I can afterwards, or just go with the flow and knit something completely crazy. But I think I've started to do that already, so I might do that, you know, using all the leftovers. And so there's more in there. There's slub yarn, there's very different colorways, and you're marling away, so it's very easy to go with your inspiration, and then it's going to be something very close to the whatever sweater. It's so whatever Westfield Wanderer. Well, that's the feeling of those days. It's really whatever knitting projects. And again, in some other episodes, I've shared with you some yarn I wanted to design something which I've been feeling that design itch with those specific yarns. So that's some yarns that I tried dyeing for the first time, so I don't have them as a regular base in the shop, but it's the fluffy, so it's a mix of silk and mohair and a bit of nylon, I think. Then there's the suri. I dyed in the same colorway. I have a bit of mohair that I dyed together, but I put that in the pot a bit later in the process, so it took the dye completely differently, but it's really a nice complement because it's the same colors. And then I had those gorgeous skeins of half baby yak and half silk. I had 5 of them. So here's the third. And I put 2 into bowls. And you see, they were dyed together. That's an exhaustion colorway with some speckling on top. They were completely dyed together, but still, they're not identical. So it's just a friendly reminder to please alternate skeins when you are knitting with hand dyed yarns. It's very important because that happens all the time. Same dyed in the same, I mean, really next to each other in the same part, but not the same. That's what is so cool about that as well. So what I've been doing, a bit like for the slub yarn, I've been trying some association. So that's fluffy plus suri. Okay, I will not give you my opinion right now because I want to finish everything and I want to block the samples, and I think I will write an article on that. That's fluff alone. That's mohair and baby yak / silk. I love this one. Oh, I said I wouldn't give you my opinion. Shh. That's baby yak and silk alone. I really want to design a shawl with that combination, but I do not know yet how it's going to work. I'm feeling the itch, but I don't have the start of an idea. So I'm playing with, playing with all the possible associations. That's on my needles, that's suri and baby yak / silk. Okay, it's pretty much mold than with the mohair and silk. Well, it's the first time for me knitting suri, so I wanted to see how it, behaved. Okay, so that's an exploration. I just wanted to show you. I'm starting to have quite a collection, so I want to continue my explorations, my research, prior to jumping and design something. Hopefully that will be the reconciliation of me and design. So that's another thing I casted on. And wait, I think that's it. We went through all the customs. Yeah, pat on the back. Well done. I think I still need to show you something. It's the finished Jimmy. Look at that. all those ends to weave in. Ha ha ha. Fortunately, I like doing that. I don't know why. I don't know why I like doing that. Oh, my baby is crying a bit, but she's with her brothers and sisters and fathers. And father, she has only one, sorry. And she's perfectly fine. She's just missing mommy because I've been away like for half an hour. So it's done. I'm very happy. I just need to, block it, wave the ends in, and that's it. So I'm so proud of that border. I told you I wanted something special. Well, if it isn't special. So I will put a lot of pictures. And what I have to do also is to update the Jimmy pattern, because knitting it, there was some little things I wanted to fix, and I still have a bit of work to do on that. And that's basically it. Next time I will have some other projects to show you, because I have very talented sample knitters working for me, little busy hands. That's my father, sister and best friend who are knitting some things for me, but I forgot to take them with me, so I'm going to write down to show them to you, because I have a snowflake, I have an Haute Double Royale, and I have a dragon shawl to show you. So next episode, samples. Okay, I've covered all the projects, and it's already 46 minutes, so I'm going to be very quick about the new yarn in the shop. Okay, just bear with me 1 second because I forgot to take it. Here I am, I'm back. Okay, so not a lot of new yarn in the shop, because I've been dyeing a lot for the Brioche Queen pre-orders. Still, I have some pretty cool things to share with you. So that's already in the shop, okay? So I have 2 kits like this. So that's 3 skeins of extra thin fingering in Champagne Rosé, the lovely one, and neon coral. And so I've already, put a little ribbon with the little Made with Love stitch marker that I'm giving away in all the orders you make in the shop. So I have 2, okay? And I know you guys, I've put some in the shop before, and I know you guys love those colors, so it's very happy, very fresh, very summery. If you want to knit something like some very fresh colors for a shawl, a 3 color shawl, I really love that one with the pinks. It's gorgeous. And so that's the infamous, color that had blue smudges, and I had to keep for myself. So those 2 made it perfectly, no smudges, and they are looking lovely in their little kits. So that means that I have this lovely one, which is alone. So it's on its own. If you like the color but do not want to get the kit, you can. Okay. I really love that color. I really do. Each time I put it down, I see a new part that I love. I love that the pinks are pastel but neon. I love neon pastel. That's neon but not, saturated neon, just a bit watered down, and they still have that neon quality but pastel, and it's gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's my favorite thing in that season because guys, soon we are going to switch completely and be in fall. For me, fall starts around August, okay? And I was thinking I really want to do something for Halloween this year. I need to think a bit more about that. I have 2 Until Dawn on sock, again, extra thin fingering. That's my sock base. And it's looking lovely. I'm dyeing a lot of purple. I didn't know I was a purple girl, but I really am, and I'm a huge Prince fan. I've been since I was like 12. So it shows, maybe it shows a bit in my purples. That's the extra fine single base, and that's 4 pamplemousse for you. So there are enough here to knit a Notre Dame, for example, a Notre Dame shawl. The light makes it look orange, but it's not. It's more, well, it's not so orange. It's a bit more on the pink. It really looks orange here. It's not so orange. There is no neon in there. You could think there was, but there was none. There are also new corrupted pinks for you. That also, I know you love corrupted pinks. I did not keep one for myself again. I really want to knit a sock out of this, but I mean, I can always dye. So given I have no immediate plans for corrupted pink in a sock, that's all for you. But I really want to knit a sock out of that colorway. Hey, hello, fluorescent lemon. Hello. And here, I love fluorescent lemon on a grey background. I love it. And I want to introduce the last, exhaustion colorway. I didn't do anything on that one. I just put it in the dye stock. That was the, mixing of all the dye stock from the dye session. I didn't do anything to it. It took the dye all by itself, and it's gorgeous. And I called it nacre because nacre is like pearl, and it's gorgeous. It's a very delicate shade of purple with the odd, I don't know why, the odd speck of fluorescent lemon. That's my secret signature. Okay, so that's in the shop. There is a little bit of auto speckling here happening, like a bit of darker purple. Otherwise, it's crazy the gorgeousness that comes out of the exhaustion dye pots. Those are completely beautiful. And I have others because I've been, having a hiatus of a fortnight. This I dyed a week ago, so I will be a bit more like I have a whole new batch still drying outside and not up in skeins and things. So I will be showing them to you next week. But it's a bit more comfortable because over the last podcast I had to be really rushing to, I dyed on the Saturday. I had a lot of chance because it was warm and sunny outside, so it was dry in 24 hours. And then I was like scanning everything up like crazy to show it to you in the podcast. Now I have a week advance, so it will be more comfortable. So this is in the shop. Okay, so this is me the day after because I had an issue with my smartphone memory and I was out of available space. And as I told you, I had to, leave to go to my parents. So I just wanted to wrap it up. And thank you for watching me until the end. I want to wish you a lovely week. And I'll see you soon, okay? So bye bye guys, take care, bye.